I was alerted to the fact that it says June 18th on our TTTT page on our website up until this afternoon. So hopefully we're not missing any people because of that, but I don't think a whole lot of people with staff or instructional want to be here. I hope. Anyway, we will go. Small but mighty we will be. Just to let you know, we've got gas and flags back there on the table and some books for sale. I forgot to bring the t-shirts tonight, so I'm not going to be giving away any t-shirts. Do we have any of the mini brochures?
What'd you say?
Mini brochures?
Do we have any of the mini brochures? If we got any of those back there, let's pass a couple of those around to everybody and let them have a couple to hand out or put on somebody's car if you see anybody with a Gone 2017 sticker on their car. I saw it today. Gone January 20th, 2017.
Oh, I love that. I love that. January 21st.
That was kind of interesting.
I got one better than that. Says impeach Obama.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a waste of time. Let's see. If you're not on our email list and you would like to be, we have a sign-up sheet back there. If you're already on the email list, you don't need to sign up again. So is anybody not on the email list that would like to be? Okay. Let's see, we got a 50-50 drawing going, and she's got that right there. If you haven't already got your 50-50, I've already got the winning ticket up here, but that's okay. You guys can still jump in and hope. Let's see, we're going to talk a little bit about a few things going on, and then we'll get to our speaker here shortly. Most of the people here have taken the Center for Self-Governance training. Let's see, I think 1, 2, 3. As far as you weren't there, Paul, Friday, Saturday. We had it on Saturday. This time we actually had the class.
Oh, you didn't let me know.
I'm sorry about that. And Victor, and anybody that hasn't taken the Center for Self-Governance class, I urge you to consider doing that. I know most of us are already thinking about doing that, but it really changes the way you look at your government and the way things get done in Jefferson City, Washington, D.C., and even locally, and will really help you understand how you can start to take control of that process, how we as citizens are supposed to be taking control of that process, and how we're supposed to be involved every day between the elections on a daily basis, controlling institute of government. Speaking of controlling institute of government, how many people went to a government type meeting this month? All right, we need to get more people at these things. So, today here is a schedule of everything going on for the next month, as far as meetings of government bodies, our meetings, meetings of other liberty-minded groups, and so forth and so on. So, if you'll take one of those, put it on your refrigerator, make sure you get to one of these meetings. We can't control institute of government if we're not there. Certainly cannot.
As a matter of fact, I attended a meeting this week. Linda and I went to Soil and Water, and so they're so unaccustomed to having a citizen show up that somebody happened to be related to somebody else in here, and he said, we had the craziest thing happen. Some crazies came out on Friday. We had people come to our meeting, and they started asking questions.
Really?
It was her.
And I told Scott you were really nice people.
Crazy, but
Some
really
crazies,
nice, right?
Crazy, but really nice.
Soil and Water Conservation District, over at right next to the UM Extension Building in Jackson. They had it like 7 a.m. Those farmers get up early, don't they?
Yeah.
We went to it, learned some stuff.
Our friend Jan over there, while she's holding it, I'll make mention of it. We have the pot there, the teapot. If you got a couple of bucks, you can throw away. This doesn't happen without a dime or two in the till. So if you got a couple of bucks, you can help us with. We'd really appreciate it. Let's see what else we got. On a weekly basis, if you'd like to get more involved, we'd love to have you get more involved. We have a steering committee meeting every week at 6 o'clock. I think we're having it this week, but it's starting to look kind of slim as far as who's going to be there, so we'll let you know if we're not going to have it. But we have a steering committee once a week. We're trying to start an afternoon or a morning meeting for the folks that work second shift, to try to get them to allow them to be involved, third shift as well, whenever they want to come. We are also having a no-mo tax meeting tomorrow, right here in this room.
Yes.
in this room
6:30 p.m.
at 6:30 PM. Okay, it's to continue the discussion of the taxes that are coming up on the ballot in August. The transportation sales tax and the Proposition K tax in the Cape Girardeau County area, and there'd be probably a lot of time spent discussing that one. Let's see, what else we got going on? We have a fundraiser for the No Mo Tax Group. Those folks are having a fundraiser on July 12th, the day before my birthday. I'm sure you want to remember that.
Right.
My last day
Save this
in my
date.
40s. They're having a fundraiser at Beef O'Brady's, a pancake breakfast. So hope to put that on your calendars and come out for that. We have tickets back there if you want to go ahead and get your tickets tonight. If you're a Tea Party member, we'd appreciate you taking some tickets and selling them. Let's see, what else we got on the list here? Tonight after the meeting, lots of us go to the Beef O'Brady's, so if you're not busy at 8 o'clock, come on, let's go on over there and have a old adult beverage and maybe something to eat. They're very good to us over at Beef O'Brady's, so we like to give back to them. And I think that's all I have on my list. Anything else that I'm missing? Pretty short list tonight. We are not doing the 4th of July thing, so there's no worries about that. And I guess that's about it. Oh yes, next month is a candidate forum. And all but one of the candidates, I believe, has agreed to attend at this point. We're waiting for an answer from one more, unless you've already got it.
Is that?
Got this.
He has not responded.
Which candidates, is county or state or?
All.
It is everybody who represents us in the county.
Okay.
So
Scott.
it'd be any office in the county, so that'd be recorder, the 2 judge positions. Who else has a race?
City offices,
Scott Clark
City
hasn't,
offices.
Cape Girardeau City.
Scott Clark hasn't decided yet.
Doesn't decide yet. All right, okay. And what else? I guess that's about it for tonight. All right, so we'll just move right ahead into our program tonight. We have our speaker is Brian Okenfuss. He attended SEMO for 2 years before graduating from Southern Illinois University, Carbondale, with a civil engineering degree. He's been with MoDOT for 7 years, and his title is Area Engineer. Not Area 51, right?
Right.
His role is to be the primary contact with us for the area, which includes 7 counties: Cape, Perry, Bollinger, Madison, Iron, St. Francis, and St. Genevieve. He works with all MoDOT departments to resolve concerns from their citizens and their senators and representatives. Ladies and gentlemen, Brian Okenfuss. What a great name.
All right. Well, first I want to say thank you all for having me here tonight. I just kind of want to talk a little bit about some things going on with MoDOT, some of our needs, and also a little bit about Amendment 7. Many of you know that the Missouri legislature has proposed Amendment 7, which is basically a 3/4 cent sales tax that would last for 10 years. It'll be on the ballot in August of this year. That tax wouldn't tax food, prescription drugs, or gasoline. Also, it would prohibit us from increasing the gas tax, increasing or decreasing the gas tax, imposing toll roads. Over a 10-year period, it's expected it would generate $5.4 billion for MoDOT to use. 5% of that money would be given to the cities, 5% to the counties to use on transportation needs. The other 90% would go to MoDOT. One big project as part of that proposed dollars would go toward I-70 and making that a 3-lane facility.
Speak up a little bit, please.
Sure. One important thing to know from MoDOT's perspective is that this is something the legislators put forward, and our role in this is to produce a project list. That project list is available for public comment right now. You can go to our website, MoDOT.org, and click on the moving forward. We encourage people to take a look at the list and let us know what you think. But that's really MoDOT's role with Amendment 7, is producing a project list that will be built when that tax goes through. Another thing to note is that at the end of of every year, we would have to send a report to the governor saying, you know, this is what we built. This is
We
the
can't hear you, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
We're losing valuable information here. And is that mic on or?
I can see
I
if I
can
can
step
turn
up
it
here.
off.
if this-
Okay, please.
This works better.
Yeah, that would probably work better.
You know, the important thing to note is that MoDOT, our role is to produce a project list that will be built with the proposed tax funds. At the end of every year, we would have to send a list to the governor. This is what we built, this is what we said we were going to build. That way it just kind of keeps us accountable for what we said we were going to do.
You report that to the governor, did you
To the
say?
governor's office, yes.
Brian,
You're in public, Brian.
Is it on?
I believe so.
Hello?
Hello, hello.
Doesn't seem like it.
Yeah.
Hello?
it's
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
It's on.
There you go.
Right.
We'll try,
Super.
Thank
we'll
you.
try that. How's it? Can
Thank
you
you,
hear me
that's,
now?
that's good.
All right.
Speak into
Excellent.
it.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Stand a little closer here. You know, I also wanted to kind of go over why is this needed? Why is this important to MoDOT? For those of you who don't know, MoDOT is primarily funded through the federal and state gas tax. And people are driving less and they're driving more fuel efficient vehicles. So that's really pulling in less revenue than what we have in the past. Also, inflation has gone up significantly in the last 20 years. So what we could buy 20 years ago, we can't buy today. Our gas tax, federal or state, has not gone up in 20 years. So trying to build the same things that we did 20 years ago is just not sustainable. Right now, we're projecting in 2017 that we won't be able to match federal funds. We're projecting to have a construction program of only $325 million. We have figured out that it takes about $485 million to maintain our system. And when I talk about maintaining our system, I'm talking about doing the necessary overlays, replacing deficient bridges, and things like that. I'm not necessarily talking about pothole patching and that sort of thing. Over the last year, we've developed our long-range plan. To develop that plan, we went out to meetings such as this. We went to community groups. We went to farmers markets to talk to just regular people and say, what do you want MoDOT to be? What kind of projects are you looking for? What's important to you? We found that really everything boiled down to four things. The first thing was everyone wanted us to maintain our system. It doesn't make sense to build a bunch of new projects if you can't maintain what you have. They wanted us to increase safety by putting shoulders, guard cables, things like that to improve safety, get our fatality numbers down. They also wanted us to promote economic development, build projects that can bring in growth, bring in more tax revenue. Also, they wanted us to connect our modes of transportation together, whether that be roads to ports or airports, even bike paths and pedestrian paths were what we found was what people were interested in. So that's kind of why this is important to MoDOT, and why I want to come and explain why it's important to us, so you guys can understand. At this time, are there any questions about the MoDOT's needs coming up, or what this tax might do? Yes.
The question I have is, did we get any shovel-ready money for the state, and did MoDOT get any of that, and is that already gone? I mean, other than the signs that they all purchased.
I mean, shovel-ready.
Well, with the stimulus funds that first came in, I guess that might have been 5 years ago, whatever, the stimulus money.
2009.
I think so.
There was
They had a
some.
whole bunch of stimulus money and it was shovel-ready jobs, and then all of a sudden, all the signs went up. Is all that money, did that improve any of our streets? Did we really get anything out of that, and is that all gone now?
That money has been spent. That was, as you said, was a stimulus package. It was meant to jumpstart the economy. It wasn't a dedicated funding source that we received for years and years to come.
I would have thought that would have like been able to take care of a whole bunch of stuff that we,
It took care of a lot of projects. At the time, I was working in construction. I was a construction inspector, and one of the main projects I did was we put shoulders on a lettered route that had a lot of accidents, things like that. You know, don't remember the list of projects, but it did do a significant amount of good toward improving our highway system. Yes, sir.
Help me if you will, if the citizens approve X many dollars to improve bridges and roads, what guarantee do we have that that money is going to be spent strictly on repairs to our highways and bridges? It seems to me like we approve this, and then new bridges, new roads, and everywhere, it just seems to pop up everywhere, which seems to me like you're getting the approval to do this, but then you're taking that money to do something else. Am I incorrect?
Yeah, I think I want to clarify a few things. The money that can be produced with Amendment 7 can be used on any mode of transportation, whether it be bike paths, transit, roads, bridges, airports. Okay, so that's a separate funding stream from what we're getting now. Right now, the money that's generated through the fuel taxes can only be spent on roads and bridges. So the money that will be generated with Amendment 7 is sort of a separate pot of money that we used.
How many are there that is going for new bridges, new highways, or repair the old ones?
I don't know the numbers as far as the proposed project list, which is specific to the Amendment $7.
Yeah.
We're still going to be doing all the same things we did in the past.
more signs, you mean, on the highways?
Signs as in,
The big signs that tell us, you know,
Buckle your seatbelt.
is that what you mean, you're gonna do the same with what you've been doing, more signs for us?
when I say do the same thing, I'm talking about overlays, things like that. The signs you speak of, in the grand scheme of things, aren't terribly expensive. Are they absolutely necessary? That's kind of a matter of opinion. You
They
know,
run 24/7, or like?
Oh, you're talking about the changeable message signs on the interstate.
Absolutely, yes.
Those were set up for incident responses to let people know, to warn people when there are incidents on the highway. We made a decision as an organization that, yes, we did spend a significant amount of money to
How
put
much
these.
was that?
I don't know what they cost, but they were an expensive item, but we felt it was necessary for the safety of our roadways. Well, we have this sign and we can only use it for incidents. Didn't make a lot of sense. So we said, we're gonna use it to promote safety, whether,
To advertise,
well,
advertise on tax dollars,
we're not advertising. you know,
MoDOT cares. Just asking,
MoDOT care, that phrase is not my, not
it's
what I
on
would
there.
choose, but that's, yeah, it's on there. You know, we want to make sure and convey a positive message, a safety message. That's really the goal, to use those signs when they're not being used for incidents.
Since they were made with incidents in mind, how many times, I'd be curious to know how many incidences get posted in the 6-month period or so, just kind of curious.
Yeah, I don't know that.
Since
that
they were
answer.
made for that, I would think that there'd be some accountability to that thought.
Sure, and I think you'll find, if you were to look at numbers like that, if we keep those numbers.
I would think if you built something for that, then
Your,
you'd keep
your
numbers.
your rural areas, like, I know there's one in the Perryville area, I would say would probably be used a lot less than the ones in St. Louis, where they have more incidents. So you might not see them used as much down here, but in the city, I think see them used more frequently.
As incidents, oh, sorry.
When are you gonna let a contract on the new Chester Bridge?
That was briefly discussed at the Regional Planning Commission meetings, but it was very far down on the priorities.
Well, they had meetings on it 5 years ago before they repaired it, And, they said they would have a new bridge by 2020.
At this
And-
time, there are no plans to.
Well, they're already putting those big plates on there again. They're pretty hard on a small car.
There was some talk of replacing the bridge leading to the Chester Bridge that frequently floods.
Well, that's what they said it needed to be replaced before the main bridge,
Yes.
but they said that they were gonna be a new bridge, a continuous bridge, and they wasn't gonna replace that little bridge.
At this time,
It's a safety hazard because the whole bridge is a big safety hazard, not right now, because there's so many over-width loads coming through there. And they have to flag the bridge even to get across
yeah,
it.
sure. A project like that costs $150 million, just a rough ballpark.
Put a toll on it, make Illinois pay.
150 million, but
You know, tolls aren't very popular. They tried to feel out interest on I-70 as far as tolls, and nobody really got very excited about tolls.
What's the problem with that little bridge? Is it sinking?
It's just at too low of an elevation, the river floods frequently, or
It's
something.
not as wide as the other bridge, as the big bridge is either.
I don't know the exact width.
Has bonds ever been considered by the highway department where that you could bond a certain project out and get private monies for investment and have a return on it? You ever had any experience like that? How does that work out?
We have done bonding in the past, probably 10 years ago, Amendment 3 it was called, did a lot of bonding. We were able to bring our roads into a lot of good condition. I think at the time, our roads were in 45% good condition. To reference that today, they're in about 85% good condition, when I talk about major roads. So we did some bonding in the past. The problem with bonds, you have to pay that debt off, and that's something that we're working through right now.
There's $297 million worth of bond debt right now. I don't think we want any more.
Okay, you said that you're estimating that the gas tax coming in the near future will be like $325 million?
The funding that we have available to put towards construction projects would be
Okay.
there.
And then how much did you say you're estimating it will be to maintain that?
$485 million to maintain our system.
485, okay. So this tax is bringing in $5.4 billion over 10 years. So that's what, 500 million every year?
Correct.
So is that overkill, or, do we have to have it that high?
You know, I don't know if you want to call it overkill.
Well, I just know if you have too much money, you're gonna spend it on frivolous things. That's just normal, a government entity would, but,
You know, we've worked with our regional planning commissions to identify needs and priorities and plan out the future. So, I don't think we're gonna do projects that don't make sense. We're building towards the future.
I see so many sidewalks and bike paths.
oh, but he's
But
gonna get
anyway.
more of them.
But anyway, I was just wondering, I just wanted to get that clear. So this really is gonna fund more than you actually need in this time of low usage, because people are driving less and using less gas.
People are driving slightly less and they're using less, they're paying less taxes because their vehicles are more fuel efficient.
Okay.
You've let us know you're going to have about $150 million shortfall within the next 2 years.
Correct.
And Amendment 7 requires you, or forbids you, to raise the gas tax from 17 cents a gallon, which is one of the lower ones in the nation. And that money is what you're using right now to fund your $480 million budget. Is this correct?
The gas tax money?
the gas tax money, that along with some federal tax.
Correct.
Okay, now, having said that, since you're forbidden to use Amendment $7 to supplement that, you're going to have a $150 million shortfall. Where do you purport to get that money from?
I guess I need to be a little more clear about how the Amendment 7 money will be spent.
Okay,
Uh,
please do.
The Amendment 7 money will be used to build roads and bridges specific project list. So when people go to the polls, they know these are the projects that are going to be built with this. Amendment 7 will allow us to, again, start matching federal funds. For those of you who don't understand, most construction projects that you see on the road are 20% state funded, comes out of the state gas tax,
It's on federal highways.
and 80% comes from the federal highway tax that is collected in Missouri. In 2017, it's possible, if we're not matching federal funds, if we can't come to the table with our 20%, the federal government will take that 80% that they were going to give us, and they will disperse it to other states. So by us having this state money, this Amendment 7 money to spend, we will again have money to count towards that 20% match of federal funds. We'll be able to receive federal funds, we'll be able to kind of go on maintaining our system.
But I'm still confused, and maybe some of the other people are also. If you're forbidden to use that money for anything except the specified projects, how much of the status quo, the $485 million budget that you now have, is new projects that you will be able to use it on in conjunction with federal funds, as versus the $325 million that you're going to have with a $150 million shortfall?
Let me make a distinction between maintenance. We have maintenance that is our maintenance crews going out there and doing pothole patching and doing snow removal and things like that. When I say maintain our system, when I talk about needing $485 million to maintain our system, I'm talking about our construction program where we're out overlaying routes, we're replacing deficient bridges, and things like that. So all of the Amendment 7 money is state funds that's spent on federal aid roads. So that money will go to matching our federal requirement. I don't know if that...
All the Amendment 7 money is going towards matching federal dollars?
It's going towards building projects on the federal system. We do all the requirements so that all the money that we spend on our roads will be eligible to account for the 20% match.
How much is that?
How much is what?
The 20% match annually?
I don't know exactly the number, so I don't want to give you something that's incorrect.
Okay.
Once the list is developed, okay, so the list is supposed to be developed before we vote, right?
Correct.
And we vote.
Correct.
Can that list be changed, or is that it? No changes to the list?
No changes to the list.
Didn't you say there's a comment period now?
Yes, right now, through July 3rd, you can go to MoDOT's website, modot.org. You can click on there, you can see the list, you can comment on the list. Our commission will formally approve the list July 9th. So once they approve it, once they get all the feedback, decide on any changes that are going to be made, once they approve the list, it cannot be changed. I believe there's even language in the ballot that talks about if we're not building the project, if we take the project off the list, then any taxpayer can file suit against MoDOT to put the project back on the list because it was a promise. All the project list those projects will be put into what we call our statewide transportation improvement program, which is typically what we have right now. We look 5 years out. Anything on that current list is a promise to the taxpayers and will be built. So these projects will be rolled into that program and will be promised and will be built.
Okay, just, since MoDOT budgets are expected to decline, and you're saying you can't keep up with the infrastructure maintenance, to keep it in its current condition, why would we do any new projects that you can't maintain? To me, I mean, if we've got too many projects here that you can't even maintain, I would think that we wouldn't even start a new project. And let, you know,
Part of the reason.
we don't need a bike path, or we don't need I just wouldn't do those if we can't maintain them.
Sure. And part of the reason is that we're, in 2017, we wouldn't be matching federal funds. So that's part of the reason why we're
So
not.
are we building strictly to get federal money, even though we do not need it and we cannot maintain it?
No, because we could, under your scenario, we could build less, just enough to match federal funds and not build anything else. The reason we're building more is because during our long-range plan, that's what Missourians told us they wanted, was projects that promote economic development. And with just maintaining what we have doesn't promote economic development.
I understand that when there was so much federal money a few years ago, that we went out and we overlaid, rebuilt, and literally paved what we call double letter roads, OOPPJJ, which are traditionally county roads maintained and done, or if they're state, they're gravel roads. And because we had so much money, and it was sort of like buying a pair of shoes, when you got 47 pairs, they were such a good deal, we just had to buy some more shoes. So we went out and paved all these roads. Now we have to maintain those roads at present level, or we have to say, well, we're going to have to cut back somewhere. And of course, we're going to tick off a bunch of farmers on roads that have been traditionally gravel for 100 years. And we just had to spend that money, and we had to build some bike paths, and we had to build some sidewalks all up and down William Street. How are we going to maintain all these things that we built and are proposing to build when we haven't got the money to maintain the status quo now? How, when we're going to spend $5 billion in 10 years, how are we going to maintain that? Where are we going to get the money from?
I think one way to look at it is that a lot of the projects from Amendment 7 are maintaining our system. They are replacing one-lane bridges. They are overlaying roads. They are putting shoulders on roads, which is, it's a little bit more pavement, a little wider, but also at the same time we're overlaying those roads, or things that we would have to have done anyways. So I don't want to look at the project list and say, well, everything we're doing is new roads and everything we're doing is expansion, because there is a lot of things that are maintaining what is there.
Well, if we double the width of a road, we also double the maintenance on that road.
Sure.
We haven't the money to maintain the road now. How do we propose to do that?
By asking for more taxes.
Well, you know, and supposedly Amendment 7 is going to forbid you to raise the gas taxes.
Yes.
Or decrease.
Correct.
Yes.
Well, why would it forbid you to decrease?
Theory being,